Hey, everybody. I hope you all are doing well out there. So, what I wanted to talk about was life. I will be approaching 40 soon in a few months. And it hit me that I am not where I want to be in my life. Although I have made progress, and I've made strides, I am still not where I want to be. And I think the reason why I started doing some introspection at this time, doing some reflecting at this time, is because I think 40 is like a big milestone. 40 is a big milestone. It is. And a lot of times, by society's standards, your 40s is like you should already have it, all figured out. And everything should already be in place. And, everything should just be lined up. The house, the marriage, the children, the successful career. And I don't know, it's just right now, I think I'm just taking inventory of my life and where I've come from versus where I'm at now versus what's to come in my future. And I don't know. I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed in myself. The reason why I'm disappointed in myself is because I've always been someone who I think I've always put a lot of expectations on myself. Even though a lot of those expectations that I placed upon myself, a lot of those expectations, I didn't, make it to the finish line. But, I still, I always strived to do better. I always strive to do better. And I've always known that, I've been, my own competition. So, I never lived my life in a way where I felt like I needed to compete with others. Although, you do see other people hitting those milestones and hitting those marks. But still, I never felt like I needed to compete with anyone else. Most of my 20s, I would say, I was trying to figure out who Michelle really was. Definitely in my 20s, which is normal. A lot of us are still trying to find ourselves. We're trying to figure out who we are. We're trying to figure out our place in the world. There are some of us that, they figure it out, and they are able to get on that path. And then there are those of us that, go out in search of it, but there are things and events that happen along the way that, give us some setbacks. We might have learned some mistakes. We may have had to start over. like several times. And this is true, not just for 20s, but 30s too. I know the last half of my 30s, up until now, I spent a lot of time healing. I spent a lot of time indoors, not really communicating with anyone on the outside, not connecting. I was doing stuff online though, you know, social media wise. I kind of became like an introvert. I kind of became like a recluse in a way. And that's never really been my personality. My personality has always been like just really outgoing. Someone who's really outgoing, like really sociable, loves to connect, loves to mix and mingle, go to different events, things like that. But what put me in that position anyway was coming out of a toxic relationship. I was coming out of a toxic relationship that really, really, really took me on a roller coaster ride. And it caused me to really restructure who I am, So it was the catalyst to me becoming who I am today. It was also the catalyst to me getting closer to God, like building my prayer life and, getting closer to God. So even though I was behind closed doors, I wasn't just behind closed doors, depressed and laying in bed all day, every day, doing absolutely nothing. I was behind closed doors, talking to God, writing in my journal, doing a lot of prayer, doing devotionals, and just trying to, get that clarity and that understanding, from God. Like, okay, God, I am at this place. What do I do next? Where do I go next? I can't believe I'm getting emotional. How do I navigate my life now? And gaining the confidence, working up the confidence to step into my new identity, to really, really try to dig and dig, what is my purpose? What am I here for? I'm telling you personally, and I know everyone has their own beliefs, and I'm not pushing my beliefs on anybody. But if it had not have been for my faith, and surrendering to God and going to God in prayer, I don't know how I would have gotten through that time. I would say I went from staying behind. So I went from staying in the house due to fear. I allowed fear to rule me, and I allowed fear to consume me, to be honest with you, crazy as it sounds. So I went through stages. I went from fear to faith. So the more I talked to God, the more I got that spiritual direction, that confirmation, that spiritual guidance, you know, discernment. then it went from fear to faith to me purposely keeping myself behind closed doors, because at that point I was in solitude. So I was purposely staying behind closed doors, doing the healing work, totally and completely focusing on just healing, going through, experiencing a transformation. And then I started to get more confident in speaking into my life the things that I wanted to see. Like the good things, the positive changes that I wanted to see in my life. Because the past is in the past, and that's exactly where I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it in the past. Yes, it is a part of my story, but the focus is now here. And I know it may sound like I'm all over the place, and if it sounds like I'm all over the place, or if it sounds like I'm rambling, I do apologize. Actually, no, I don't. I don't apologize. But at this point of my life, I am entering into a new chapter of my life. So towards the tail end of my 30s, I started working on manifesting the life that I saw for me and my children. Not just the life that I saw for me and my children, but the vision that God gave me for me and my children. But still, I was afraid to step out of my comfort zone and come out and be like, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm about. I didn't have confidence enough in my abilities and what I knew I was more than capable of doing, because God had gave me that vision. And it's like, if God gave you the vision, then God knows that you can do it. It reminds me of this page from, gosh darn it, the book is up there. I have a bunch of books above me, and give me just a second. I have to get that book. I have to get that book because I have to share this. Give me just a moment. Okay, I am back. Let me find this book. Okay. This book has been read over and over and over again. This is actually a book that I got years, and I mean years ago, by T.D. Jakes. Yep, you heard that right, T.D. Jakes. And if you don't like it, oh well. Because people, sometimes it's not always about who is saying it, but it's about what's being said. And I'm not here to entertain people's opinions on, who this person is and who that person is and all of that. Okay. There's wisdom in his words in regards to this. So it's a really old book, The Lady, Her Lover, and Her Lord. I read this book several times. As you can see, the front part of the book got this book. That's how long I've had this book. But there is a part in this book that woke me up. There's a part of this book that made me look at things from a completely different perspective. There is a section in this book that made me actually take accountability for the places where I was lacking and be like, okay, Michelle, you got to get it together. You got to get it together. So he says, and this is so awesome. This is so awesome. God blesses you with creative thought. The thought is not for your enjoyment. It is for your edification. That means it comes to build you up. It will not build you up if you do not do what you are thinking. Creative thought without faith-filled action will leave you a dreamer. I'm going to read that once again. Creative thought without faith-filled action will leave you a dreamer. You will be a resource center for other people who take your ideas and move to the top. If you are woman enough to create the concept, then be woman enough to produce the product. I'm going to say that again. If you are woman enough to create the concept, then be woman enough to produce the product. Because I've always I'm telling you, that lit a fire under me. Those words stuck with me. Even when I finished reading the book, that would still pop up in my head. I actually took that and I had wrote it down on a sticky note and I had stuck it to my my bathroom mirror. At one point, it was on my bathroom mirror for like a whole year. And even though I was still trying to figure out how to navigate, because I mean, let's be real, you know, life still be lifing, even in the midst of you trying to, you know, get to that place where it's like, okay, we are here. I am doing it. The vision is coming to life. Everything is coming together. But, you know, life still be lifing around us. So I think one of the things that I struggled with was figuring out how to navigate life and work on building what it was that, you know, the vision that was given to me. You know, stepping into, you know, my role, you know, the vision that God had, you know, the vision that God had for me. Me utilizing, you know, my skills, you know, me being confident enough to step out of like my comfort zone and make it happen. And it can be like so many different things, like goals, personal goals, achievements, things that, you know, I wanted to see happen for me and my kids. And I'm not having a pity party. The fact that I'm approaching 40, though, I'm telling you, I'm just, because every now and again, I just take inventory and I do a review. I just do a review. Um, 40 is a new chapter. I am still embracing uncertainty, but while embracing this uncertainty, I'm still going to hope for the best. And I'm still going to just allow the Holy Spirit to guide my footsteps, to guide me every step of the way. And I'm going to step out on faith, and I'm going to move forward with that. So I feel like what I'm doing actually is making peace with the past. Honestly, I'm making peace with the past. I'm making peace with the events of the past. That is no longer my story. It's a part of who I am today, but that is no longer, you know, who I am. That's in the past. And so we are just releasing and letting go. And we are looking forward to moving forward. And I'm just embracing it. I'm just going to embrace whatever comes my way. Yeah. Because I don't know. I don't know what's to come. I don't. Um, and that's not to say that it's like, oh, she's still lost. Oh, she still doesn't have it figured out. No, I'm just trusting, putting my total and complete trust in God. Like, God, you guide me. You direct me. Making sure I use wisdom and discernment and not just recklessly stepping out on a limb without first consulting the Holy Spirit and, getting confirmation. But I just think about how, society really does, play a major part in, how we navigate this world and how we view ourselves and, how we view other people. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think that with age and wisdom, and just having experiences in life, you realize that a lot of things that you, you know, deem as being just so super important, or it mattered because it matters so much, and the things that you put the most weight on, and the things that you worry the most about, and the things that especially when it comes to society, telling us when we should be doing this and when we should be doing that, and put so much emphasis on it, and it really doesn't hold that much weight, but we give it power. We give it power. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if that part of what I'm saying makes sense or not. you know so it wasn't my intention to come up here and talk and talk and talk and talk, but approaching 40, I'm most definitely allowing the Holy Spirit to take control, most definitely. But approaching 40, I'm not dimming my light. That's another thing that I did. I dimmed my light. Of course, I was going through my healing process, but I also dimmed my light. I did. And I let myself get caught up in what I felt like other people were going to say about me and think about me. I let that hold me back as well. And the thing about that, I feel like that comes with, age, wisdom, and maturity as well. When you understand that people are going to talk about you regardless, no matter what, and there's nothing you can do about people who choose to talk about you. And if those people, whether people are talking about you or not, you shouldn't give your power away. You should not give your power away because people are going to talk regardless. So the best thing you can do is do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Focus on your healing. Focus on your growth. Focus on how you can be better this time around than the next time around. What is pleasing to God? What makes God happy? If you believe in God. And that's also where I'm at now as well. Like, not for the first time, really not caring what anyone has to say. And sometimes it's not always that people are talking about us. Yeah, people will definitely talk, most definitely, especially if there's been rumors or anything like that. A lot of times people will take what they've heard and they'll run with it instead of, they don't have to know much about you. They'll take, I realize what social media has taught me is that we have a lot of miserable people on social media, most definitely. A lot of people are miserable on social media because they're not happy with their own lives. They're all throughout the comment section. And yes, some of them are bots, but some of them are actual real people hiding behind fake accounts, that go from post to post and comment section to comment sections, spreading a bunch of hate and criticism and, choosing to just make it a career of spreading negativity. It's because they are broken within themselves and, they're not at a place where they're happy, within their own lives too. There's just something to take into consideration. And we have to be mindful of, where we place our energy, when it comes to stuff like that, which I might go on a rant. No, I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm not going to allow myself to go on a rant. But yeah, that little tidbit, yeah. So I guess I'll give y'all another life update at some point in time. But I'm going to continue to work on what it is that I'm working on. And if, the Holy Spirit wants me to pivot, then I'm going to pivot, make any necessary changes that needs to be made, and I'm going to keep it pushing. So, either you're going to roll with me or you're not. But, yeah. So my new chapter is beginning. My new chapter is starting. Do I know where it's going to lead me? No. Do I know where it's going to take me? No. Do I know what lessons are coming up to learn? No. I'm just, I'm taking the experience and the wisdom that I've gained from past mistakes, situations, things like that. That's definitely moving forward with me. So hopefully there won't be too many, life lessons that I have to, learn again, in my 40s and beyond. But hey, they say life is the, what is that? The greatest teacher or the biggest teacher? Something like that. Okay. So yeah, I'm not going to be hard on myself because I'm not going to lie. In the beginning, when I was talking in this video in the beginning, I was being really hard on myself. And when I started to speak about some of the things that, I've enjoyed and I went through out loud, it made me realize, well, hey, Michelle, we are just not all on the same journey. We are all not on the same wavelength. And I would say, okay, so this can be like a little teachable moment. teachable moment. If you ever feel like you are in a space where you're not there yet, don't beat yourself up. We all are not on the same timeline. We just aren't. And it's okay if you're restarting for the 1,000th time. It's okay if you haven't figured it out yet. It's okay. It is okay. Because society will have you thinking that it's not okay, but it's perfectly normal. There are people out there who have gotten, late starts in life, and they blossomed, and they, were successful, and they were able to finally check those boxes off of their list. So, take the necessary time that you need to do the healing work. Take the time that you need to reflect. Take inventory of what you've learned, what you've went through. Just it's okay. It is okay. I mean, there are people right now that are getting their degrees, and they're in their 70s and their 80s, and they finally decided, hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to college and get that degree that I've always wanted. It's beautiful. And it also makes me think about people like Estelle Getty, how she got her start, late in life. And she ended up being on a successful show, The Golden Girls, which is absolutely one of my most favorite shows. Love The Golden Girls. I'm a huge Golden Girls fan. We don't always, everything doesn't always go on the timeline or the trajectory that society tries to put out for us. Oh, in your 20s, you should be doing this. In your 30s, you should be doing that. In your 40s, you should be here. In your 50s, you should be there. That's not how it works in the real world. So yeah, I have ran my mouth long enough. We going on 32 minutes, so I'm going to shut it down. But yeah, this was definitely something that I needed to get it off my chest. It was weighing heavy on me, and I needed to talk about it. I needed to speak about it. So yeah, but I am approaching 40, and I am going to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to dim my light. Okay. Life be lifing, but life has taught me how to navigate, through, the ups and downs of life, and still, stay focused on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So thank you so much, life. Thank you, life, for just teaching me so much. Thank you. But yeah, y'all. So I'm done rambling on. But stay tuned for more content on my YouTube channel. And yeah, y'all. If I decide to pivot and turn, just go with the flow. This is Michelle. Just the ebbs and flows. Go with the flow. 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 Okay. All right. Later.